So our part 1 will have the introduction of the lipids. What is the function of a lipid, fats or oils? Classification ng different type of lipids, the biological function ng lipids, and its relationship sa structure. Anong kinalaman sa structure with the function and behavior of a certain lipid. And of course, the part are the examples of complex lipids and your eicosanoids, these are inflammatory responses in our body. Okay, so it says that lipids is highly non-soluble or low solubility in water or no solubility at all in water. Therefore, lipids as a whole structure, pinakabuong structure niya, they are considered as a non-polar molecule that is immiscible, not soluble in water, which are polar molecules. And of course, since they are non-polar, they are highly soluble with your non-polar solvents, such as your hexane solvent is also non-polar. Chloroform is also non-polar, and some of the alcohols are also non-polar. So again, like dissolves like, non-polar dissolves a non-polar molecule. And of course, what are the functions of your lipids? First one is that they are an energy reservoir, energy storage, specifically the triacyl glycerols. So, your triacyl glycerol can be found in the adipose tissues o yung tinatawag natin ding adipocytes. So, diba? Do we ever observe why does polar bears can hibernate for 6 months without eating? They can sleep and survive for 6 months without any food during winter because they have large adipose tissues or adipocytes in their body. And those adipocytes of a triacyl glycerol, which can be easily converted to produce what we call adenosine triphosphate. Diba ikaw? Nag-intermittent fasting ka for 16 hours or nag-starve ka for almost siguro 24 hours. Water diet ka lang, okay? So how does your body still survive without any food, without any carbohydrates? Lipids or the triacyl glycerol are the one that is responsible for still giving you energy or ATP. Okay? Next, membrane lipid. So your membranes are composed of lipids such as your phospholipid, sphingoglycolipid, and of course, cholesterol is also a component of a membrane. Number 3, it acts as an emulsification such as your bile acid. Okay, how does yung crispy pata na kinain natin, yung samgyupsal na kinain natin, how are those food being converted to energy or to produce energy from those food is that we have a process called lipolysis. So from your fatty acids or fats, lipids, it is producing what we call ATP, and the process is lipolysis o tinatawag nating beta oxidation of fatty acids. You are breaking down your fats, your lipids, your oils to be needed to produce ATP. That is beta oxidation. And beta oxidation, one of the products is the bile acids. Okay, and bile acids is very important in your intestine because they are the one that will aids in the digestion of other dietary lipids. Okay, so tandaan yan. Bile acids are product of your beta oxidation, and its responsibility function is to aid or help in the digestion of your other dietary lipids. Number 4, another functions of your lipids is to be a steroid hormones and eicosanoids. Ano ba yung mga steroid hormones sa babae? Your estradiol should be higher as well as your progesterone level. For the boys, you should have higher testosterone levels. Bakit yung mga PCOS patients, may mga polycystic ovarian syndrome patients, need to take pills. Okay, pills. Yung 28-day pills, yung ginagamit to prevent pregnancy. So, pills is not also for preventing unwanted pregnancy. Pills is also used to treat PCOS patients because PCOS patients have very low estradiol and very low progesterone level. That's why sira yung menstruation ng mga babaeng may PCOS. That's why pills are analogs of estradiol and progesterone. Once you take these pills, it can help to level up, it can help to increase estradiol or the progesterone levels of these PCOS patients. Okay? So, ano pa? So, we also have your eicosanoids that are inflammatory responses in our body. Pag tayo nagka-COVID, tayo nagkaroon ng flu virus, what's the first thing our body do is to have a fever. Okay? So, to eliminate those viruses or bacteria in your body is inducing heat, tinataas yung temperature, therefore we have fear. And our body is having what we call inflammation. And these inflammatory responses, the one that is responsible for fever, inflammation, and also pain are the eicosanoids, specifically the prostaglandins. Okay? So, ano pa? Thromboxanes also is a eicosanoids, one responsible for vasoconstriction in your blood vessels. You also have your leukotrienes, the one that is inducing asthma attack. Okay? So these are inflammatory lipids that are responsible for our responses, or it is a signal response to other, for example, viruses, bacteria, so to eliminate them outside our body. So again, these are your functions. You have a storage lipid such as your triacil that is seen in your adipocytes, membrane lipids, components such as the phospholipid bilayer, your sphingoglycolipid, and also cholesterol. You also have your emulsification lipids such as bile acid. It will aid in the digestion of dietary lipids also. And you have your messenger lipids such as your steroid hormones, such as the estradiol and progesterone, testosterone also. And also steroid hormone, the most abundant, pinakamadaming steroid sa katawan natin is the cholesterol. Yes po, hindi harmful. Hindi siya entirely harmful in our body. Cholesterol is also good for our body. Dahil sa cholesterol nanggaling ang estradiol, dyan nanggaling ang testosterone natin and other steroid hormones. Okay? Siya ang precursor, sa Tagalog, siya ang pinanggalingan ng mga other steroid hormones. So, next, you also have your eicosanoids, the inflammatory responses, and lastly, mga biological waxes, protective coating lipids. Okay, so these are the classifications of your lipids according to the structure. The simplest one is your fatty acids. Triacylglycerol, these are your, again, the one that is being converted to energy. You have your wax esters. Phospholipid and sphingolipids are your membranes. Steroids, eicosanoid are your messenger lipids. Okay, so let's just discuss an overview on the structure of your lipids. This one, overview lang. A detailed discussion of each of these types of lipid will be nasa part 2 yon. Diniscuss ko yon detail by detail ang isa. But for this one, let's just have a overview. Okay, so a fat is which is also called as a triacylglycerol. So it's in your lipids are only types of a backbone. Backbone glycerol or a backbone sphingosine. A glycerol will contain 3 carbon group and 3 oxygen. Okay? Or pwede din 3 carbon group and 2 oxygen on its structure. That is glycerol. A sphingosine will contain nitrogen on its structure. So, let's see later kung ano yung glycerol, ano yung sphingosine backbone. Here, this is a triacylglycerol or fat. Glycerol meaning 3 carbon, 3 oxygen. The backbone is glycerol. Triacyl, tri, so therefore it also contains 1, 2, 3. You have 3 fatty acids. So that is the meaning of a triacylglycerol. It contains a glycerol backbone and 3 fatty acids. Next question. What is the longest type of lipid? That is biological wax. So it is a long chain of carbon or long chain of lipid. So as you can see here, pinakita ka ditong 29. Pinaikli lang kasi ito, pero sobrang haba nito. As you can see, there are 29 CH2 on its structure. So, kapag in-expand ba yan, 29 na CH2, 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 and so on, and sa dulo ay CH3. Same as well this one, 14. 14 na CH2, expand natin, CH2, 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 and so on, ang pinakadulo ay CH3. That's why the longest chain of lipid, longest type of lipid is the biological wax. Next, if your question is, what type of lipid contains a polycyclic structure? Polycyclic structure. Okay, so polycyclic, madaming ring structure. As you can see here, a steroid has 4 cyclic structure. Isang ring, dalawang ring, tatlong ring, 4 na ring. That makes your steroid a polycyclic structure. Next, question is, which type of lipid contains a carbohydrate? And the only type of lipid that contains a carbohydrate is a sphingoglycolipid. Anong keyword dito? The term glyco. Glyco means carbohydrate. Therefore, you'll see here a carbohydrate. This one is a lipid, therefore it will contain here 1 fatty acid. And it is a sphingo, therefore its backbone, as you can see on the backbone here, it has a nitrogen, making it as a sphingosine backbone. Okay, so it is a sphingosine backbone. Okay, tatandaan yan ha. Which type of lipid contains a carbohydrate, one fatty acid, and a sphingosine backbone? That is your sphingoglycolipid. Okay? These two are actually sisters. Magkapatid yan. They are just difference on the backbone and the number of fatty acid. Let's see. You have a glycerophospholipid, you have a sphingophospholipid. Okay. What is the backbone? Let's see. This is glycerophospholipid. From the name itself, glycero. So you'll see here a 3-carbon group and of course a 2-oxygen structure. So that is a glycerol. This is a sphingophospholipid. So as you can see, the backbone has a nitrogen. So that is a sphingosine. How many fatty acid or lipid that it contains? So it has 2 fatty acids. Okay, so as you can see, a sphingophospholipid only contains 1 fatty acid. And of course, anong similarities sila? Both of them has a phosphate group. And of course, any polar groups. Okay, so sa discussion ng part 2, diniscuss ko yun na mas detailed ano yung mga polar groups. Some polar groups can be just OH. Meron lang OH na nakakatikit dito sa phosphate. Some polar groups are a larger molecule such as inositol. Meron pang mga polar groups na choline or ethanolamine. Okay, so makikita nyo doon sa part 2 ano yung mga polar groups that can be attached in your glycerophospholipid and your sphingophospholipid. So overview lang naman ito. Okay, again, your triacyl contains glycerol and 3 fatty acid. The longest chain is your biological wax. A polycyclic structure lipid is a steroid. A lipid that contains carbohydrate is a sphingoglycolipid, and the difference between your glycerophospholipid and your sphingophospholipid is in terms of its backbone and its number of your fatty acid. Okay? Tandaan po yan. Okay, so let's go to your simplest structure, which are your fatty acid. Ma'am, ano po ba itong mga fatty acids na to? Itong mga naka-green na yan. Bakit yung iba 16? Bakit yung iba 14? Bakit yung iba 12? Okay, so let's discuss muna the structures of this fatty acid. A fatty acid will always contain a C double bond OO negative, which is a carboxyl group. Since it has exposed oxygen, it is highly polar. Since it is highly polar, it really loves water, which is also polar. That's why the head is called as hydrophilic. It is loving your water molecule. Next, this whole chain o yung titawag nating tail is highly non-polar tail. Since it is a non-polar, there is no presence of oxygen, it is highly hydrophobic. Takot siya sa tubig. Okay? It will not be dissolved in water. And that characteristic of your fatty acid that is possessing both parehong polar at parehong may non-polar part, that is called as an amphipathic structure. May polar ka, may non-polar part ka. Ma'am, you said kanina that lipids entirely, the whole structure ng lipid is non-polar molecule. That's why it is not very soluble or not soluble in your water molecule. Pero ma'am, bakit dito? Sinasabi mo po ngayon that your fatty acid, that lipids, is amphipathic. It contains a non-polar at meron po siyang polar part. Paano po nangyaring entire structure is considered as non-polar? Okay. The whole structure ng isang fatty acid is considered as non-polar. It is because the reason is that the polar is so small. Okay, sobrang liit niya, and the nonpolar part has a wide surface. Mas mahaba siya, mas malaki siya, therefore it makes the structure very insoluble or low solubility in water. Yun lang yung reason for that. Anong reason bakit nonpolar ang buong lipids? The polar part is very small compared to your non-polar part that has a wider space or a larger molecule or larger tail. So it makes your structure non-polar. Tandaan po yan. Okay, because of the hydrophobic nature, mas malaki yung part na non-polar tail, it makes your membrane as an effective barrier, harang sa Tagalog, to polar molecules. As you can see, this is a structure of your membrane. So, it has the, what we call the head. Okay, again, the head of your fatty acid or phospholipid will contain the polar part or the polar head, while as inside is the location of the non-polar tail. Okay, so every polar molecules that is trying to pass through will be prevented by the non-polar tail inside our membrane. So hanggang dito lang siya sa outside, and it will be hard to penetrate a polar inside a non-polar part ng isang membrane. Again, pinaka-divine rule natin, like will only dissolves like. Tatandaan yan. And because of that ability, it also makes our membrane fluid. Okay? Or flowy yung kanyang galaw. Imagine yourself, meron kang, sa swimming pool, meron kang floating bed. Try mo tumayo doon sa floating bed, 'di ba? Gumigewang-gewang ka. Same as well with your membranes. So they move very fluid and very flowy because it has a non-polar part inside its structure. So anong importante dito? Polar head and your non-polar tail, which is inside, that makes your polar molecules, any polar molecules, very hard to penetrate a membrane. Okay? So again, your lipids is mostly non-polar, and one of the forces of attraction, again, is London dispersion. Oh, joke to. Sabi niya, ni Polar versus ni Grizzly Bear. Okay, help, I'm dissolving. And Grizzly Bear said, but bears are insoluble kasi nga, bears have large amounts of adipocytes at sobra daming triacylglycerols. Lipids yun. Non-polar cannot be dissolved in water, which is polar. Pero sabi niya, it's easy for you to say you're not polar kasi polar daw yung name niya. Diba? Ang sakit sa ulo ng ganitong joke. Kailangan pa i-explain. Okay. Next. Your intermolecular forces of attractions are, you only have 3. Hydrogen bonding, dipole-dipole, and the London dispersion. And the one force that is acting in your lipids is the London dispersion. Kung maalala, London dispersion is the weakest. And it will only happen if 2 molecules collide. Okay? So, kapag hindi na nag-collide, wala nang London dispersion. Again, it will only happen if two molecules are colliding. Kunwari, ikaw, sis crush mo, kunwari, nadikit ka lang ng konti. Diba? Sometimes, pag nadikit ka sa isang, kunwari, kasama mo, kaibigan mo, o yung crush mo, parang merong spark, yung parang may kuryente, parang may goosebump. Yun ang London dispersion in terms of molecules sa ating biochem. So, parang nagkakaroon ng konting spark, konting attraction when it is only colliding. So, after they collide, wala na ulit na London dispersion forces. So, yun lang ang force of attraction between lipid molecules. And of course, for lipids, the lesser the surface area, mas maliit yung lipid natin, mas maliit yung tail ng lipid natin, it will result to also low London dispersion. Ibig sabihin, syempre, pag mas malaki yung nabangga mo, mas malaki yung molecule mo, medyo mas malaki yung force of attraction. So, it will result to lower viscosity, melting, and also boiling points. Okay, so the structure of your fatty acid is either be according to the number of carbons. Long chain, carbon 12 to 26. Medium chain, carbon 8 to carbon 10. Short chain fatty acid, carbon 4 to carbon 6. Of course, which of these three have the highest London dispersion force or the intermolecular force of attraction? Sabi kanina, the shorter it is, the lower the force of attraction. Pag mas maliit, of course, mas maliit din yung force of attraction when two molecules are colliding. So, therefore, pinakamaliit na London, si short, pinakamalaking force of attraction ay si longest chain dahil sobrang haba ng nonpolar part niya. Okay, next. You have two types of fatty acid. One is saturated. When we say saturated, according to types, you always just check the tail. Wala tayong pakialam sa polar head. Always just check the tail part of a fatty acid. And as you can see here, the first example, the tail part has all single bonded lines. Carbon, single bond, carbon. That's why single bond is corresponding to the term saturated fatty acid. Okay? But we also have fatty acids that have a double bond. So let's check the tail again. On this tail, we have here a one double bond. Therefore, it is considered as fatty acid. And one double bond means monounsaturated fatty acid or the MUFAC. Pag dalawa, tatlo, or apat ang nakitang double bond, two or more, it is already considered as polyunsaturated fatty acid or the PUFA. Okay? As you can see here, isa, therefore it is called as MUFA. This one, single bond lahat, it is called as SFA. Aside from that, the characteristic of a cis-unsaturated fatty acid, again, if you have bonds and you have to write diba, carbon-carbon, and you're going to write the hydrogen, pag same side, that is a cis. Kunwari, carbon-carbon, this one line. Pagka nilagyan mo yan ng hydrogen, it is on a cis side. Kapag different side ang location ng hydrogen natin, kunwari yan, may isang nasa kabila, may isang nasa taas, that is called a trans. Another one, visualization, pwedeng pa ganito, pwedeng pa ganyan. That is also a trans. As you can see here, the double bond here, if we're going to draw the hydrogen, it will be on the same side. So, therefore, this is called as cis-unsaturated fatty acid. Tandaan, the most abundant, the most naturally occurring fatty acid is the saturated fatty acid and the cis unsaturated fatty acid. But we also have what we call trans fat or the trans unsaturated fatty acid, which is not naturally occurring. Hindi siya nakikita sa mga foods, vegetables, naturally. It came from a process called partial hydrogenation. Okay? So, papakita ko sa inyo ngayon. Saglit lang. Okay. So, partial hydrogenation process, a complete hydrogenation process, is converting your unsaturated, the cis unsaturated fatty acid into a saturated fatty acid. Double bond gagawing single bond. That is a complete hydrogenation process. However, there is a process called as partial hydrogenation. So, instead of making your double bond into a single bond, it is making a cis unsaturated fatty acid to a trans unsaturated fatty acid. So, kung makikita here, this is a cis, same site ang location ng hydrogen. Ang double bond ay ganito ang structure. Therefore, when you write your hydrogen, isa ay nasa kabila, isa ay nasa kabila. Different side, that's why it is called trans unsaturated fatty acid. Okay, so it is changing from a cis structure into a trans unsaturated fatty acid. At examples ng foods that are partial hydrogenated is the peanut butter and margarine. Therefore, they contain lots of trans unsaturated fatty acids. And trans unsaturated fatty acid is not normal. It is not naturally occurring. That's why our body finds it hard to digest, to absorb, and to convert it to energy. Anong nangyayari? Nangyayari is nakaklag sila ng nakaklag. Therefore, it is highly associated. Most of the studies are associated with cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so that's why hindi ako naniniwala na ang margarine ay pampatangkad, but pamparami siya ng trans unsaturated fatty acids in our body. Okay, so ayun lang po ang importante dito. So, we have your saturated fats. You also have your cis unsaturated fat, which are normal, naturally occurring. But we have a trans unsaturated fatty acid that came from a process called partial hydrogenation. Okay, so most of the examples of that is the peanut butter and margarine also. Since our body cannot process it very well to convert it to energy, it is associated to many cardiovascular diseases. Okay? Balik tayo. So again, this is your saturated fat. This is your cis unsaturated fatty acid. Either be a MUFA or a PUFA. Ano ulit ang itsura ng trans? Ganito ang itsura niya. Linear na parang merong double bond dito. Okay? Ganyan. Okay? Wala siyang liko. Wala siyang bend. Okay? Next, let's have an example. Again, this is your polar head. Only check the tail. All are single bonded, therefore saturated fatty acid. This is your head again. check the whole tail of your oleic acid. It has one double bond, therefore it is monounsaturated fatty acid. Check the tail again, the polar head. Check the tail again. You have one, two. Again, two or more, at least two. It is already polyunsaturated fatty acid. So, key other examples for this one. You have your palmitic. Check the tail. This is saturated fatty acid. So, you have your SFA, MUFA, and your PUFA. Okay, everyone, sa chat box, recitation. What is an oleic acid? Is it classified as SFA, MUFA, or a PUFA? What's your answer, class? Okay, as you can see, tail, it has one, therefore it is monounsaturated fatty acid. Okay, last one, arachidonic acid. What is the classification of your arachidonic acid? Okay, let's check. Arachidonic acid has one, two, three, four double bonds. Therefore, it is a polyunsaturated fatty acid. So, such as your linolenic, it has three. Therefore, it is PUFA. Linoleic has two. Therefore, it is also PUFA. And steric single bond. Therefore, it is saturated fatty acid. Okay, one of the property of your saturated fatty acid is the free rotation. Kaya niyang umikot-ikot or ikot-ikot-ikot yung mga atoms ng hydrocarbon sa tail nito. Kaya niya mag-twist and turn na tinatawag natin or free rotation. Handaan. Single bonds versus double bonds versus the triple bonded. Okay. Single bond, isa lang. Double bond, dalawa. Therefore, the force of attraction is double dahil dalawa yung bonding. Triple bond, of course, the force of attraction is triple. So, mas closer talaga siya. And the higher the bond, okay, the lower the bond length. Okay. So, it means sa may pinakamahabang kamay, yung pinakamahabang connection ay ang single bond natin. So, therefore, it has the higher bond length. Okay? And because double bonds or the triple bonds specifically, madami yung bonds niya, mas malapit yung dalawang molecules. So, therefore, it has a shortest bond length. Mas maliit yung kamay, mas maliit yung gap ng connection. So, kapag mas mahaba yung kamay mo or single bond ka lang, therefore, it can be flexible, it can rotate freely. Okay? Kasi isa lang naman yung connection at mas mahaba yung bond length mo. So, that is the only reason for a free rotation specific for saturated. Why? It is because it is single bond. There is only one bond and the lower the bonds, number of bonds, the higher the bond length. Dahil isa lang, mas mahaba, mas malayo yung connection. Mas malaki yung bond length natin. Okay? So, next is that your saturated and unsaturated fatty acid can be written, for example, oleic acid, 18:1, parenthesis 9. 18 corresponds to the number of carbon. 1 corresponds to the number of double bonds. The parentheses 9 correspond to the start of double bond. Kagaya nito, oleic has 18 carbons and it has one double bond between 9 and carbon 10. And the start of the double bond is on the number 9. Kaya siya 18, 1, parenthesis, 9. Okay. Ma'am, what if po pag mga saturated fatty acid? For example, this one. Saturated fatty acid are all single bond, therefore 0 ang ating number for the double bond. Kagaya nito. Palmitic acid has 16 carbons, therefore 16. It is saturated, therefore automatically 0. No double bond. Myristic acid has 14 carbons, kaya siya 14. Again, saturated, therefore automatically 0 yung number of double bonds. Another one, behenic 22, saturated, that's why 0. 22 is to 0. Next, unsaturated again, number of carbon, eleic 18, and the number of its double bond ay isa lang. That's why 18 is to 1. Anong location saan nag-start? Nasa number 9. Another one. We have here arachidonic acid that has 20 carbon chain. It has 4 double bonds. What is the location of that 4 double bonds? 5, 8, 11, and carbon number 14. Last one. 18 carbon, linolenic, 18 carbon, 3 double bonds, and 9, 12, and 15. So, tandaan po yan. In nomenclature, it denotes the number of carbon and, of course, the double bond. And where is the start of that double bond carbon number? Okay. So, again, your saturated are linear. Your cis unsaturated fatty acid, okay, its structure, because of the double bond location, it is a cis, it is making the structure have a kink or bend. May liko. Okay, lumiliko yung structure natin. So, anong silbi? Anong kinalaman ng kinks or bend dun sa property ng mga unsaturated fatty acid? One has something to do with the melting point. As you can see here, in saturated fat, the single bonded, as the number of the carbon increases, the melting point also increases. Okay? So, therefore, mas mahirap matunaw itong mga saturated fatty acid. In unsaturated fatty acid, as the number of your double bond increases, the number of melting point also decreases. Ibig sabihin, mas madaling matunaw ang unsaturated fatty acid kaysa saturated fatty acid dahil mas mababa ang kanilang mga melting point. So, anong kinalaman nun? Ano meron doon, ma'am? Okay. The structure of your saturated fatty acid is more like a linear. There is no kinks or bends, therefore there are no double bonds. That makes the structure easily be compressed or compacted. That's why kapag sa room temperature, they tend to be solid. Example of a saturated fatty acid or a hard fat is the butter. Okay? Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, at room temperature, it is still a solid molecule. Why? Because it contains many saturated fatty acid that makes it compressed, compacted, because there is no double bonds. While as a mixture of saturated and unsaturated fatty acid, your unsaturated fatty acid tends to have kinks or bend dahil nga mayroong double bond. it makes your structure very hard to compress, hard to be compacted, hard to compact. Okay, so therefore, materials such as oil, which contains a mixture of saturated and unsaturated fatty acid, mahirap i-compact ang mixture ng saturated and unsaturated fatty acid. That's why at room temperature, they tend to be liquid. Kaya mapapansin nyo yung canola oil, olive oil, ano pa, truffle oil, kung mayaman tayo. Coconut oil, they are liquid at room temperature because it contains a mixture of your saturated and unsaturated fatty acid that is very hard to compress. Okay? So, since they are already liquid at room temperature, it means its melting point is very low. Since your butter is solid at room temperature, therefore it needs a melting point that is above than your room temperature. Kailangan pang tunawin ito versus this one na tunaw na, liquid na at room temperature. Okay, so yun ang connection ng structure ng fatty acid with your property and visible structures nga. Okay, so, and aside from that, the higher the level of unsaturation, the degree of unsaturation, mas madaming unsaturated fatty acid, the healthier. Why? Because most of our unsaturated fatty acids are the essential fatty acid and it also a component of our membrane lipids. That's why canola oil is so much healthier than your coconut oil because it contains many polyunsaturated fatty acid. So, pag mas madami yung unsaturated fatty acid, mas healthier. Because your essential fatty acids are unsaturated fats, membrane lipids is also composed of unsaturated fats. Ano ibig sabihin ng essential fats? These are fatty acids that are not synthesized in our body. Hindi kayang gawin ng katawan natin, but it is needed by our body. And where do we take it? Sa diet natin, sa food natin. Examples of this are your linoleic, which is the omega-6, and the linolenic, which is the omega-3. Okay? Your omega-6 and omega-3 is responsible for producing arachidonic acid and eicosapentaenoic acid, which are responsible for making your eicosanoids or your inflammatory responses. Okay? So, paano makakalaban yung katawan mo sa viruses? Sa COVID, kung mababa ang inyong inflammatory responses o yung level ng inyong mga eicosanoids such as your prostaglandin. That's why you need to take omega-6 and omega-3, which are unsaturated fatty acids. Okay? So another properties of fatty acids is that the longer the chain, the insoluble it is. Short-chain fatty acid might have some, but very low solubility in water, of course. Again, melting point has something to do with the carbon number. Sa saturated fatty acid, the higher the carbon number, the higher the melting point. Sa ating unsat, the higher the double bond, the lower the melting point. That's why SFA tends to be solid at room temp or fat at room temp. That's why unsat at room temperature, they tend to be liquid or oil in room temp. Okay? And of course, the kinks and bends, that is the reason kung bakit there is less packing. It cannot be compressed. Melting point is lower and they tend to be liquid at room temperature.
Okay, so let's discuss our part 2 of lipid discussion, which were about the examples or classifications of lipids. So the first one are the triacylglycerol. It can also be called as triglycerides. And it is found in our adipocytes or adipose tissues, yung mga taba-taba natin, lalo na sa tiyan. So these triacylglycerols are major energy reservoir. So, storage siya ng energy and other derivatives of glycerol that are found in animals. So, these molecules is consist of a glycerol esterified with 3 fatty acids. Okay, so if we remember, the structure of a fatty acid is a C double bond OH. Ito yung head niya. Then, of course, a long carbon group. So, therefore, triacylglycerol, from the word itself, tri, 3 fatty acid chain that is combined to the glycerol backbone. So, what happens is what we call esterification of glycerol to a 3 fatty acid chain. And when you say ester or esterification, it is forming a C double bond O, an R group or any carbon group, and of course, an oxygen and an R group. Okay, so this is what they call an ester. So during esterification, we are removing water in the glycerol and your fatty acid. So in glycerol, all of the OH will be removed. And sa lahat ng fatty acids natin here, the hydrogen is being removed. So when it undergoes esterification, the oxygen part ng ating fatty acid is automatically binded to the carbon. So as we can see here, it has a C, a double bond O, and of course, a long carbon group, which is the R group, and of course, an oxygen and a R group. Okay, the OR. Okay, so again, C double bond O, the R group, and the OR group. Okay, again, C double bond O, the R group or carbon group, and an oxygen and an R group or carbon group. So this is what we call esterification. And esterification or making of triacylglycerol can be just a simple triacylglycerol. It means all of these 3 fatty acids are similar. So for example, yung first fatty acid natin is stearic acid. Ang second fatty acid natin is also a stearic, and the third fatty acid natin is also a stearic. That's why it is called a triacylglycerol. Okay, this is the symbol. And we also have what we call the mix triacylglycerol. Okay, so this one are examples of a simple, magkakapareho yung fatty acid. So second fatty acid, of course, to our third fatty acid. So when we say mixed triacylglycerol, we have 3 different fatty acid. So just the example, myristic, stearic, and palmitoleic. So these are 3 different fatty acids. So your triacylglycerol in animals are found primarily in adipose tissue or in body fat, lalo na sa tiyan. Lalo na yung mga polar bear. So how do we imagine them? Without no source of food, pero tumatagal sila during the hibernation season. Pag masyadong malamig yung season, di ba nag-hibernate sila? Because they have large amount of triacylglycerol in their adipose tissue. So therefore, that is an energy reservoir. And we all know that lipids can also be converted to energy. So some of the properties of a triacylglycerol. So the physical properties of a triglycerides depend on the fatty acid components. Of course, the melting points of fatty acid, it will increases as the number of carbon increases and the number of double bond decreases. If kung maalala natin yung slide na to, balikan natin yung part 1. Here, as we can see, yung mga single bonded or the saturated fatty acid is that habang lumalaki, again, yung carbon chain, mas mahaba, mas mataas ang melting point. Okay? As the number of carbon increases, the melting point also increases. How about unsaturated fatty acid? It has something to do with the double bond. So habang tumataas yung number of double bonds natin, as you can see here. Ay, ito pala. So, the melting point decreases. Okay, so it is inversely proportional. So aside from that, of course, triglycerides that are rich and unsaturated, yung may mga double bonds, therefore may mga kins. That's why at room temperature, they are called as oils. Triglycerides that are rich in saturated fatty acids are semi-solid or solid at room temperature. Ito yung mga single bonded structure. Kaya napapak, therefore at room temperature, solid sila. Kagaya ng water, solid at room temperature.
So we have what we call the hydrolysis process, where it is removing fatty acid with your triacylglycerol. So it is breaking of outer fatty acids, such as producing from a tri, it will become a diacylglycerol, so two fatty acid chain, and a monoacylglycerol, which is composed of one fatty acid chain. So it has a complete hydrolysis process when all of your three fatty acids are being removed. Partial hydrolysis naman kapag meron natirang isa or more than one fatty acid residue that is being remained. So your 3-acylglycerol is being catalyzed or hydrolysis, nag-undergo ng hydrolysis process by the enzyme lipase para siya ay maging diacylglycerol. Natanggalan siya ng isang fatty acid. And of course, lipase can also attack a diacylglycerol to remove another fatty acid. So we produce a single monoacylglycerol. And we also have a process called saponification, where it is a production of soap. So it is hydrolysis in a basic solution. And soap came from a 3 fatty acids with 3 sodium hydroxide. And we will have to produce 3 fatty acid salt and of course water molecules. And as we can see here, acid plus a base, we will have a salt. So our oil and our base, sodium hydroxide, is interacting with triglyceride with the process heat. So it is removing the glycerol backbone. Okay, so the glycerine part, and attaching sodium to our fatty acids. That's why it is called the fatty acid salt. And the fatty acid salt is called as your salt or your soap. We also have the process called hydrogenation, which is addition of hydrogen across the C, single bond C, multiple bonds, which increases degree of saturation. Many food products are produced by partial hydrogenation of oils and fats. Peanut oil, it becomes peanut butter. Liquid plant oil, it produces margarine. So as we can see here that in hydrogenation process from a double bond, it will become a single bonded fatty acid. So by removing or breaking the bond and addition of hydrogen, it will make your double bond to a single bond fatty acid. So another one is the oxidation process. So double bonds in triacylglycerols are subjected to oxidation with oxygen as an oxidizing agent. So it leads to a C double bond C breakage that will produce aldehyde and carboxylic acid. And products often have a objectionable odors and fats and oils that are said to be rancid. So to avoid this unwanted oxidation process, antioxidants are added as preservatives called vitamin C, vitamin E that are naturally antioxidants. So again, to obtain energy from your fat or your triglycerides, or triacylglycerols, they must be broken down by what we call hydrolysis into their principal components, such as this one. We break down siya to fatty acid and your glycerol. So this is again the hydrolysis process that we have discussed kanina. And the process called lipolysis, it will take place sa loob ng cytoplasm ng isang cell. So the resulting fats or fatty acid are oxidized by what we call beta oxidation into acyl-CoA, which is used by the Krebs cycle. So lipolysis is what we call the oxidation process of our fats. So or fatty acid. So this is the oxidation process. It is also called the beta oxidation, where we are using these fats to be converted as energy. But okay, this oxidation process have a objectionable odors such as fats, oils, and are said to be very rancid. That's why pagka meron nagkakaroon ng unwanted oxidation process, okay, so it is using vitamin C and vitamin E. Okay, so your lipids are divided by the simple lipids and the complex lipids. Under your simple, you have a backbone, glycerol. What is the attach? You have 3 fatty acids. Okay. While as under the complex, it will be divided by your phospholipids and glycolipids. Your glycolipids, from the word itself, glyco, it contains a sugar or a carbohydrates. So its backbone is a sphingosine. And its attachment, it would have a carb, which is either a glucose or galactose. And ano pag naka-attach, meron kang 1 fatty acid chain. Under your phospholipids are 2. So you have your glycerophospholipid from the word itself, glycerol. Therefore, the backbone is a glycerol. What are the attached? It has 2 fatty acid, 1 phosphate group, and of course, another attachment. Might either be an OH or the alcohol. Pwede rin siyang choline. Pwede din siyang ethanolamine. And etc. Okay? So, madaming pwedeng nakabet doon sa ating phosphate group. Sphingolipids naman is the backbone is from the word itself, sphingo. It is a sphingosine. And on i-attach natin isang fatty acid. It also have a phosphate group. And of course, it might either be attached alcohol. Pwede rin choline structure. Pwede din ethanolamine. And etc. So later we will discuss this thoroughly kung yung differences at yung mga attached doon sa ating phosphate groups.
steps. So let's go to your phospholipids. So all cells are surrounded by a membrane that confines their content. So lipids contains one or more fatty acid, a phosphate group, and of course a platform molecule to which your fatty acid and the phosphate group are attached. So it might either be a glycerol or a sphingosine backbone. And there are two types. You have your glycerophospholipid, which is the backbone. Again, is a glycerol. Attached, meron kang 2 fatty acid, meron kang 1 phosphate group, at meron kang another group which is in alcohol man lang. Pwede rin choline, pwedeng ethanolamine, and of course, etc. Okay, so let's see later ano yung other groups. And another one is a sphingophospholipid, which is the backbone is a sphingosine. 1 fatty acid, 1 phosphate group, and of course, 1 attached to the phosphate. Again, either be alcohol, choline, pwede ding ethanolamine, or etc. Okay? So your glycerophospholipids are having 2 fatty acid and a phosphate group attached to a glycerol molecule and alcohol group. So all attachment between groups are ester linkages. So it contains 4 ester linkages when transit 2, 3 ester linkages. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 linkages in this one. So where, again, there are 4 linkages where the 3 of the linkages is directly connected to the glycerol backbone. So your glycerophospholipids are similar to triacylglycerol, but of course have different function. So triacylglycerol serves as energy storage. Glycerophospholipid serves as a cell membrane. So your glycerophospholipids are polar, your triacylglycerol are non-polar. So your glycerophospholipid is divided with your polar and non-polar. They're also amphipathic. When I say again, amphipathic, it contains a polar and a non-polar group. So therefore, what are the polar regions? So your glycerol backbone is polar here. Your carbonyl group is also polar. Your phosphate group is also polar, and the head group o yung naka-attach, yung sasabi kong choline man, ethanolamine, or alcohol is also polar. What are the non-polar parts? Your whole chain, yung mahabang chain ng ating fatty acids are the non-polar part. Yung tail ng ating fatty acid. One example of your glycerophospholipid is a phosphatidic acid. So as you can see here, again, the backbone, 1, 2, 3. And the third carbon, it is always a phosphate group. And of course, for some, they have a polar group here. But for this one, so phosphatidic, meron lang tayong phosphate, so C3 natin. And in your phosphatidic acid, it is always unsaturated dito sa ating C2 carbon or C2 backbone na glycerol. Okay? Unsaturated are the double bond. Okay? Always remember that. Which part of the phosphatidic acid backbone will contain unsaturated fatty acid? Oh, of course, it is the C2 location. So another one, which part of the phosphatidic acid backbone contains a phosphate group? Therefore, it is a C3. Another example is your phosphatidylcholine. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3. So you have 2 fatty acid, carbon 1, carbon 2. But on your carbon 3, we have a phosphate group and it is a choline structure. So a choline structure is also can be written as dalawang CH2. Okay, a nitrogen. So N plus. And of course, ilang CH3? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. So therefore, CH3. So this is also called as a choline structure. A CH2 and plus and a CH3. Another one example is a lecithin. Lecithin is used in many of the commercial available foods to help to increase yung shelf life. Ginagamit siya pang patagal ng pagkain. So, this is also a glycerophospholipid where on its backbone, it will contain fatty acids, stearic and linoleic acid. And of course, the C3 carbon or backbone, it has a phosphate group. And of course, another here, a choline structure. Again, CH2, nitrogen, and positive 1, 2, 3, tatlong CH3. So these are other examples of glycerophospholipids that has a different head groups. So you have your phosphatidyl ethanolamine. You have here a serine amino acid attached to phosphate. And another glycerol attached at the phosphate. Meron tayo tinatawag na inositol. Inositol is a carbohydrate. And of course, your cardiolipin. So here, okay. So, your cardiolipin, saan ba ginagamit? It has a role such as electron transport complexes. So, carrier siya ng proteins and mga enzymes such as the phosphate kinases. So, important din siya in organization of particular mitochondrial structures such as in cristae and other parts. Okay, so another example are your cephalins, which are another group of glycerophospholipids in which additional phosphate esters is provided by either ethanolamine or serine. So on its polar group, the one that is attached sa ating phosphate, so C3 carbon backbone, we have an ethanolamine. And of course, another one is a serine. So both of these are example of cephalins. Your cephalin is usually found in your nervous tissue and sa brain natin, sa nerves, neural tissue, and spinal cord. And it says here that glycerophospholipid is found almost exclusively in plant and animal membranes, which are typically consist 40 to 50% phosphoglycerol and 50 to 60% proteins. So the three most abundant fatty acid in your phosphatidic acids are palmitic, stearic, and oleic. So those are usually seen as fatty acid in your phosphatidic acids. So let's go now to your sphingoglycolipids, which contains a backbone, sphingosine, one fatty acid, and a monosaccharide or oligosaccharide. So this contains a carbohydrate. So it has an amide linkage here. And of course, a glycosidic linkage since we have a glycoside or the carbohydrates. So this is a sphingosine structure where there is a double bond. So this is your fatty acid and this is your carbohydrate attached. And we have what we call your gangliosides. So a type of sphingoglycolipids where it is contained a branch chain of up to 7 monosaccharide residues that occur in gray matter of the brain such as yung myelin sheath natin. So as we can see here, so your sphingosine backbone is here. This is your fatty acid and you have a big unit of carbohydrate attached to our sphingosine. So your gangliosides, it is the one that is present in your nerve endings and appear to be very important in nerve impulse transmission.
And severely genetically transmitted diseases involve the accumulation of specific glycosphingolipids due to an absence of an enzyme for their degradation. Such as case, we have ganglioside GM2 sa mga mayroong sakit na Tay-Sachs. So, yung Tay-Sachs has a rare but fatal disease characterized by a red spot on the retina, gradual blindness, and loss of faith, especially in infants and our children. So we also have inflammatory responses that are also lipids. So your eicosanoids, which is arachidonic derivatives and have profound psychological effects at extremely low concentrations. They are acting like an hormone-like molecules. They are exerted their effects in the tissues where they are being synthesized and usually have a very short life. So some of the physiological effects of eicosanoids is that inflammatory response, production of pain and fever, regulatory of blood pressure, induction of blood clotting, control of reproductive functions such as induction of labor, regulation of the sleep-wake cycle. Okay, your prostaglandin came from your arachidonic acids. So, it is a family of compounds that have 20 carbon skeleton of prostanoic acid. So, it is detected in the seminal fluid which is produced by the prostate gland. And your prostaglandins are not stored in tissues such but are synthesized from the membrane-bound 20-carbon PUFA or the polyunsaturated fatty acid in response to specific psychological triggers. So your arachidonic acid is being converted to prostaglandin when there is a signal of inflammation in the body. So they are being catalyzed by the enzyme cyclooxygenase enzyme, which has two subdivision. We have here a cyclooxygenase 1 enzyme. We also have a cyclooxygenase 2 enzyme. Both of these enzymes are the one that is catalyzing of producing prostaglandins in our body. So they are involved in raising body temp, inhibiting the secretion of gastric juices, increasing the secretion of protective mucus layer in the stomach, relaxing and contracting smooth muscles, directing water and electrolyte balance, and intensifying pain and enhancing inflammation responses. Okay, so again, your COX enzyme occurs in two forms. One is COX-1, which is the one that is catalyzing normal physiological functions such as the hepatoprotective function, stomach lining protection. So they are also highly constitutive. So makikita yung COX-1 enzymes natin sa GI, kidneys, and as well as platelets only. While as your arachidonic acid is very inducible. It is anywhere in the body. And however, it is responsible for the production of prostaglandins in inflammation. So, prostaglandin is important when your tissue is injured or damaged. These inflammatory cells invade the injured tissue and interact with resident cells. For example, smooth muscle cells. So they are the one that is having inflammatory response. And of course, it increases the temperature in our body to remove any viruses or bacteria in our body. And as well as it is also causing pain in our body. That's why if you are sick, we feel pain and we are having fever. These are because of your COX-2 enzymes that are catalyzing arachidonic to a type of prostaglandin that is responsible for inflammation, fever, and as well pain. Kaya din tayo umiinom ng mga COX-2 enzyme inhibitors. Yung mga titawag nating non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay? Specifically, yung mga NSAID na COX-2 enzyme inhibitors such as your celecoxib. Okay? So, it is a COX-2 NSAID. We also have your thromboxane, which is derived from your arachidonic acid also, but it is responsible for platelet aggregation and vasoconstriction. So when we say vasoconstriction, is the narrowing of blood vessels by small muscles in their walls. When blood vessels constrict, blood flow is slowed or what we call block. So your vasoconstriction may be slight or severe, and it may result from disease, drugs, or psychological conditions. So we also take aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs to inhibit this production of thromboxane by inhibiting also the COX enzyme. So your inhibition of cyclooxygenase enzyme might be a reversible, yung mga competitive inhibitors natin, and of course, irreversible inactivation such as aspirin. And we have your non-selective COX. Means when you say non-selective, it inhibits both of your COX-1 and COX-2. When you say selective COX-2, it will only inhibit the celecoxib. So some of the effects of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs is that anti-inflammatory effects such as it reverses vasodilation, edema, and tenderness. Analgesic effect, it is preventing PG-mediated sensitization of nerve endings. Antipyretic effect, so it is for vasodilation and heat loss. Resets the hypothalamic thermostat by decreasing the prostaglandin synthesis, and it do not cause any hypothermia. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory effects such as the anti-platelet aggregation. So platelets have a COX-1 enzyme. So what it does is that aspirin acetylates COX-1 to inhibit its activity in an irreversible manner. So this is the catalytic side of our cyclooxygenase enzyme where your catalytic site happens. So what happens is that if you're taking aspirin, for example, it is blocking the catalytic site by having an acetyl group on the catalytic side. So therefore, what happens is that we will have a anti-platelet aggregation effect. So another one, selective COX-2 inhibitors do not disturb platelet aggregation at therapeutic doses. Acetaminophen do not inhibit platelet aggregation. So you also have your leukotrienes that are synthesized also from arachidonic acid. They are mainly occur in leukocytes, so they produce muscle constructions, especially in the lungs. And thereby, this is the one that would cause asthma-like attacks. So your arachidonic acids is converted to leukotriene.
Okay, so this one, kabisaduhin yung mga bile acid. What are steroids? Saan nasisynthesize? Sa liver. What is a cholic acid? Pag-aralan yan. Cholesterol as well. Anong structure ng cholesterol? So, dapat pag nakita nyo ABCD, that is considered as a cholesterol. Okay? Next, nasan yung OH group? Carbon number 3. Para saan ang cholesterol and so on. Ano yung mga derivatives ng cholesterol? Mula sa cholesterol, you would form this one. Para saan to? 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 Pag-aralan. Para saan din yung mga LDL, HDL. Okay? Next, your lipoproteins. So, anong trabaho ng mga lipoproteins? Saan siya gawa? Pag-aralan. Okay? Madaming lipoproteins. You have chylomicrons, which is usually triacylglycerols. You also have the VLDL, usually tags. IDL, tags with cholesterol. LDL, cholesterol talaga. HDL, mostly just proteins. Sino ba sa dalawa ang pinaka good cholesterol at bad cholesterol? Tatandaan din yung composition ng isang lipoproteins. Okay? Saan din nasi-synthesize? Pag-aralan to, anong trabaho nila. Tandaan din yung flow ng isang lipoproteins na si dietary tags ay dala-dala ni chylomicrons papunta sa inyong mga peripheral tissues. Okay? Next, si chylomicron remnants are ina-absorb ng liver natin. So, mula sa chylomicron, dala niya yung tags papunta sa tissues, then papunta sa liver. Then sa liver, masisynthesize yung mga tags, then itatransport ng different lipoprotein carriers natin. So, pag sa tissues, VLDL, sa tissues dadalhin. Okay, pag IDL, pwede mabalik. Pag IDL, pabalik sa liver. Pwede din convert sa LDL at itibalik sa liver. Okay? Next, LDL can be transported also to other peripheral tissues. Okay? And yung mga cholesterol na nagkalat sa tissues, ang nangongolekta ay si HDL. Okay, HDL versus LDL, si high density versus low density. Okay, si low density lipoprotein, how will transport the cholesterol throughout your tissues. However, si LDL has a tendency magkalat. Okay? So, sometimes nagkakaroon na ng clogging, lalo na sa nilatag na atherosclerosis, nag-clog na yung cholesterol. So, it would lead you to cardiovascular diseases. So, sino ang kumukuha ng kinalat ni LDL? Si HDL. Okay? Again, si HDL, tagapulot ng cholesterol na hindi kailangan ng katawan. Okay? That's why HDL is considered as the good cholesterol. LDL can be considered as the bad cholesterol because it has the tendency magkalat ng cholesterol na hindi naman kailangan or excess cholesterol. Maganda pa rin ang trabaho ni LDL kasi nagtatransport ng cholesterol. But it could lead to too much amount of cholesterol. Okay? Tatandaan din itong cholesterol level, Prius. Tatandaan yan. And on lang po. Thank you.